Part 3 of Google Ads for water damage restoration. Today we're going to talk about negative keyword lists. We're going to talk about landing page optimization. And we are going to talk about how you structure these in order to win with Google Ads for water damage restoration. Let's get into it.
This isn't just any podcast. This is your secret weapon for dominating the market.
This is the Restoration Marketing Secrets Podcast, and this is your host, Sean McMeen.
Welcome to Restoration Marketing Secrets. I am your host, Sean McMeen. This is episode number 16. Today we are going to be talking about water damage restoration, Google Ads setup related to negative keywords, landing pages, and some secrets related to those setups. Before I do that, today is 9/11. Myself, I was in college during 9/11, so I just wanted to kind of talk about this. I was in college on 9/11, and I remember watching this on TV. And man, it just brings back a flood of memories. I did not have anybody impacted by 9/11, but man, I just, it's still shocking to me to think about everything that happened. And when I graduated college, I went to work in the corporate world for a company called Thomson Reuters. And there were people impacted. We part of my role within that company was technical account manager, and there were many financial institutions that we helped as a company that were impacted by 9/11. And yeah, I remember visiting New York a couple years afterwards, and just the flood of emotion related to everything is just crazy. And I can't even imagine having been impacted by a family member or a friend or coworker or anything directly. And I just want to send prayers out to all of those involved. So, not to start the episode on a somber note, but of remembrance and reflection, I think is always key in our life. To remember where we came from, remember the others that are, impacted of various things throughout our life. And so I just wanted to just say something in remembrance on 9/11 for the victims and families and everything like that. So, that being said, let's get into Google Ads. No easy way to transition from that, but again, this is my podcast, my journey. I'm sharing everything and anything that goes on in my life, and that was something that impacted me today. But let's get into Google Ads and negative keywords, landing pages primarily, and structuring some things. So if you've listened to the last couple episodes, I really tried to share with you some high-level thinking on Google Ads, how to set yourself up for success, and then also about the optimization of the campaigns and structuring campaigns in a way that's going to set you up for success. Again, I can't give you 100% everything step-by-step in a podcast like this, but if you ever have any questions, you can reach me at restorationmarketing.com, and I'm an open book. So schedule a conversation with us, reach out and contact us. I'm happy to help you out if you're struggling on your ads campaigns. You're not going to be any sales pitch there or anything like that. I'm just happy to help and give back. So let's talk about negative keywords with relationship to your Google Ads campaign. A negative keyword list structured in a proper way can make and break your campaign, meaning you will go broke without a negative keyword list that's very highly dialed in and set up in a way to prevent clicks on things that you do not want in a very expensive campaign. And so I think at last checked, our main negative keyword lists that we use and we deploy to all campaigns starting out is somewhere around the 5,000 keywords, I believe. Yeah, I'm just looking at it right now. Somewhere around 5,000 negative keywords in this list. And so we have the insights of running tons and tons of campaigns across multiple locations, and we've grown that list over time. And so that's the advantage of, whether you work with a company like myself, but somebody within the industry that can accumulate that data to help, shorten down the investment in order to learn that data. So what you'll want to do on negative keyword list in your account, you want to set up an account level negative keyword list. And these would be negative keywords that are just kind of common sense. So most damage restoration companies are not going to restore cars or boats or furniture or, I see iPhones and electronics and all of those things like that. So you want to have like Macs, iPhones, different types of cars, Ford, Chrysler, all of those types of things that are very not something that you want to show up for keywords. So think about it. If you didn't block as a negative keyword boat or RV, then someone could say, I recently, who do I call to get, I had a flood in my RV, or boat flood cleanup or something like that. If you don't put those terms in there, you could show up theoretically for those clicks, and you could get clicks and get charged a lot of money for that. So you want those common sense things in there. And then you also want to look at the types of services that you have. So for instance, at the count level, if you only do mitigation, maybe you want to block out things that are geared towards restoration, like repair, restoration. It's endless. Just think about your keywords that you don't want to show up for, basically. So that's at the account level negative keyword list. You also want to do at the count level, you want to do a geo-specific list. And what do I mean by geo-specific list is a list of all the states that you do not service, states named fully dialed out, and abbreviations. You also want to do, within that geo list, negative keywords for large population areas. So you do not want your ads showing up, if you're in Boston, you do not want your ads showing up in Orlando, Florida. So part of that is obviously the location targeting of the campaign, but you just want to alleviate any inkling that your campaign will show up for somebody that is in Boston searching for water damage restoration in Orlando, because maybe they have a rental property there or something like that. So with that being said, you want to do geolocation negative keyword list on areas outside of your area, to prevent that from happening, even though you're doing location targeting type thing, in location specific settings like zip codes that we talked about in episode 2 for your campaign. So those are two main account level negative keywords. Now, with relations to the campaign level or ad group level, you want to set up negative keywords so for instance, you're doing a campaign for water damage restoration, you might want to exclude fire as a campaign level keyword. So that way you don't have searches for fire coming in there. You also might want to do that for mold too. Just be careful with that, because you don't want to exclude relevant terms that could be combined together. So I have, a term that might be, flood and mold damage restoration. So you can do that at the ad group level, or you can do it at the campaign level. Typically, we will do that at the ad group level. And so, for instance, if you have a ad group set up for flood cleanup, and you have an ad group set up for basement you would have in the flood cleanup one, you would probably have a basement as a negative keyword because you already have a campaign for basement related. And the reason why you have that ad group set up for basement related is that you're going specifically in the ad copy about basements. Okay. And so you're doing a theme about basements for that. So that's where you would have a negative keyword for that. Another type of negative keyword that you can set up is a competitor negative keyword list. So typically competitor negative keyword, if you don't want your ad showing up for a large franchise, or if you are a franchise, you don't want your campaign showing up for another competitor, you can have a negative competitor list. Now, there are strategies, which I'm not going to go into on this episode, about running campaigns for competitors or showing up for competitors. So let's say you're an independent and you want to show up for a franchise location. You can run ads for that. Maybe we'll talk about that in a different episode later. That's a little bit of a secret sauce there that we kind of use sometimes to jumpstart some campaigns because we want to go after a branded competitor name. I'll leave it at that for now. But we will have an episode about competitor campaigns and how to structure those and to make them be profitable and how to answer the phone and things like that. So, all right. So I talked about negative keyword lists. Hopefully that was helpful. Again, negative keyword lists, when you set these up, you have the option, just like on regular keywords, you can have it as an exact match or phrase match or broad. If it's a single word like car or iPhone or computer, I'm going to have it as broad, as a single word typically. If it's something more specific, usually I'll do a phrase match. So for instance, it could be something to the effect of, I don't want our ads to show up for anything related to how to. We're not running DIY ads here. We're running ads that are specific to people needing help. So think about it. How to, we want to have quotations around how to and not show up for that. So how to clean up flood damage. You maybe not want to show for that. Those are not very good converting terms because these are people looking to do it themselves. Or how to use an air dryer or a dehue or anything like that. So you use those as phrase match. And then sometimes you'll use exact match. And then as your campaign gets optimized and further along, you're going to show up for terms that you're going to add to the negative keyword list over time. And typically I recommend doing this at the campaign level, or you have a new negative keyword list that is set up for, a competitor list, a geo list, and then a main negative keyword list. So you can have all three, and depending on the keyword, you assign those keywords. Depending on the keyword you're trying to block to optimize the campaign, you assign those to the keyword list. So hopefully that makes sense. That's a lot about negative keywords. I know, sexy topic here, but it literally will make or break your campaign if you don't do this correctly and set up these negative keywords to prevent your ads from showing up on areas you don't want them to. Next thing, we're going to talk about landing page here. On landing pages, general rule of thumb is you do not send Google Ads traffic to your homepage or a service page on your main website. Typically, what we like to do is set up a landing page that is all about that specific subject matter. So if it's about floods or water damage restoration, we will set up a dedicated page directly for that. And you can do that on your website. So it could be a1restoration.com. I always make up this A1 thing. I don't know why I say A1, but so if it's a1restoration.com/ water damage. You typically, that may be your main service page, but you could have a specific page for ads. And the reason why we have a specific page for ads is we want to check and see where the conversions come, how many people hit this page, how many people actually convert from that traffic. And so we typically will not have a main menu across the top because we don't want to distract that visitor from clicking on different things and going off on a tangent somewhere else. Because if we do this right, they're going to hit that landing page, see that you help them with the service they're searching for, and they're going to click that call button, or they're going to fill out that form or hit that chat button. And so you want to make it as simple as possible for them to understand what you're doing, where you service, any sort of reviews that you have, and the easiest way for them to call you, right? So make sure that phone number always stays at the top right when you scroll down the page. You want to have the phone number in multiple areas. You want to put in trust signals like the insurance companies you help. You want to put in trust signals like your IICR certified, IICRC certified. You want to talk about common areas that you help people with. If you have Better Business Bureau, if you have RIA certification, all of this are different things you want to make sure are present on that page. But at the end of the day, don't overdo it. Talk to the specific type of campaign that you're running and make sure you are putting in those trust signals, and put in a couple images of your team, your truck, and an example of, if it's water damage, some sort of leaky pipe or flooded area. Try not to use stock photos. We should all have some sort of job that we have taken a photo on that we could use. But if at the end of the day you need to use stock photos, go for it. So that's typically how we will set up the landing page. The important thing here is that Google will give you tracking mechanisms that you need to make sure you include on that landing page. There's a piece of code that you put on there that will track what's called a GCLID. It's basically Google's way of tracking that click from the ad to an actual phone call. And it's really easy to do this with call tracking and with the script that Google will give you for that conversion tracking. And conversion tracking is a whole nother beast to try to do and very difficult to explain over a podcast, but you need to have somebody that knows how to set this up in order to feed data back to Google about when somebody clicked on the ad, whether they submitted a form or called you, and then feed that data back into Google so that Google knows that that click actually turned into a conversion. Okay. There are softwares that help you do this. And there are how-to guides online setting up conversion tracking for Google search campaigns. So if you want to look in more in depth, you can find that there. All right. So I believe that is the root of what we needed to cover today. I think this was probably going to be our last part for Google Ads. I'm sure I'm boring you guys to death on this, but I really wanted to share some things that have really worked for us to dial in campaigns. Here's my final thought on Google Ads, that Google Ads is a long-term strategy of a bigger strategy for your company in order to be successful. You are not going to just grow your company with Google Ads. You will grow your company with Google Ads, but you also have to have multiple fishing poles in the water because Google Ads is going to crush it some months, and then other months it could be flat. You want to have Google Local Services or Google Guaranteed set up. You want to be doing SEO. You want to have all those multiple fishing poles in the water, relationships with plumbers and property managers and insurance companies, all of those things. Don't just rely on one specific strategy to grow your business. You have to make sure you're hitting on multiple fronts and investing over long periods, and do not live week to week or month to month, because that is a recipe for chasing your tail. And you have to think about this. If I'm going to do Google Ads, I'm going to commit to 6 months of running Google Ads. And I need to know that, it's going to cost me X amount per month. Don't go into running Google Ads thinking you're going to spend $1,000 or $500 a month and be successful going after water damage restoration. That is just not going to happen. There's too many competitors in your area and in most areas of the country that you just won't be shown enough. You have one click and you're done for the day or multiple days. So just keep that in mind, setting the stage for success long term, and being able to make sure if you do Google Ads, you have enough budget in mind for that, and you will be successful. So that is it for Google Ads. This was the end of part 3. Long episode here, but hopefully that was helpful. And this will be the end of the episode. So If you have any questions, again, reach out to us at restorationmarketing.com and go out there and crush it. Until next time, this is Sean McMeen. Talk to you soon.
You've been listening to the Restoration Marketing Secrets Podcast. Sean's not here to just talk the talk. He's walked the walk. With a track record of helping over 70 damage restoration companies and engaging in over 500 conversations with industry owners, he's seen it all. From digital marketing triumphs to the most ingenious growth hacks, he's got the keys to the kingdom, and he's sharing them with you. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, for more, hit the website at restorationmarketing.com. See you next time on the Restoration Marketing Secrets Podcast.